clients, when we ask if they have the will, they will say yes, but really, when was the last time you reviewed it? Some of our clients say 5, 10, and for some even 20 years. For clients of ours that have got their wills when kids were first born, they haven't looked at it since the time they had their first child. Now let's fast forward to 20 years, this is the time to be reviewing it. What we recommend is that every few years you be reviewing your will, see if it's updated, if there's any changes that need to be made, and most importantly, when there's been a life change in your life, whether it be the death of an executor, a death of a family member, or a birth of a new child, or your children now have become of age. Many clients don't know where their will is. What I recommend is that whoever is your executor needs to be aware of where the will is, and most importantly, you need to be aware of the will is. Some clients leave the originals in the safety deposit box. However, life happens and sometimes the banks aren't open on a Saturday evening or a Sunday. Most lawyers will still can keep the original wills for you, but do you know the lawyer that has your will? Or if you've got a fireproof and waterproof safe, make sure it's in that. But somebody needs to know where it is. Great question. And unfortunately, many Canadians do not have a will. So what would happen if you passed away without a will? Well, number one, you're going to leave your family in a mess because they're going to have to struggle to get somebody to administer it. They're going to have to go to the government to apply for direction for that. Two, you're going to add cost to the whole process. So all your hard-earned assets that you've worked for your life to save is now going to dwindle away in administrative costs, lawyers, and of course, don't forget good old taxes. Because you haven't planned properly, more money is going to go to the government from taxes. And most importantly, what's going to happen with those assets? Are they now going to be distributed the way you want them to be distributed, or are they going to be distributed by the person that's been appointed to it? Whether you have kids or not doesn't mean you don't need a will. Even people without children need to have a will, because at the end of the day, do you want to decide where your assets are going to be distributed and how they're going to be distributed, or do you want to leave that in the hands of the government? Okay, so you're divorced. Great, you're starting a new life. But do you have a will from before, and is your ex-husband still on that? Or you're now divorced and maybe starting a new relation. What's happening with those assets? Who's going to get it? Who's going to be fighting over those assets? It's really important to have a will in your circumstances. Great. What I would recommend is go back to the institutions that you've set up these joint accounts and just double check. There's two ways of setting up accounts. Joint with tenants in common, joint with rights of survivorship. With rights of survivorship, it would automatically roll over to your partner. If it's joint tenants in common, then that 50% share of yours will not automatically roll over. It will need to be addressed in your will. So I highly recommend you double check with the institutions, how is it set up jointly, and make sure it's joint with rights of survivorship. I think it's automatically going to your partner. However, if you've recently got together with your partner, whether it be from common law or from marriage, some of your existing assets, like an RSP or a tax-free savings account, may actually have your estate named as beneficiary. And if you have no will, it's not automatically going to go to your partner. Also, depending on the relationship and how long you've been in a common law relationship, even with your will, it may not automatically go to your partner. That's why you need to look at everything. All your beneficiary designations, whether it be life insurance, pension, RSPs, and in your will, does everything coincide together? Even though you may have no family, what's going to happen to your assets at the end of the day? Do you want the government to take control of that? Why not leave a will and name one of your favorite charities, like the Alzheimer Society, as a beneficiary? Oh, there are many benefits of naming a charity in your estate plan. If you were to leave a gift within the will, whether it be a certain dollar amount, one, it's reflecting your personal values and beliefs, so you're leaving a legacy. But also from a financial plan standpoint, you're actually going to help reduce some of the taxes payable on final death. If you don't have a lot of money, but you would like to leave a gift for a charity, what about getting a life insurance policy? Whether it be for $25,000, $100,000, you pay the premiums and you name the charity as the beneficiary on the life insurance policy. That way, when you do pass away, the charity is the beneficiary, the proceeds go directly to the charity, it avoids probate and all the red tape and administration that goes with processing a will. Beneficiary on your RSP is a great idea. For one, what happens when you pass away, your RSP becomes fully taxable. The government views that you've cashed it in on the day you passed away, making it fully taxable. By naming a charity as the beneficiary, those proceeds, 100%, goes directly to the charity and there's no tax withheld at source. And in turn, the charity will give you a tax deduction for the full amount that you can write off on your taxes. So it's a win-win for everyone. That's a great idea, giving stocks directly to a charity, especially stocks that have appreciated in value. Many stocks are tax preferred with the capital gains. However, if clients have held them for a very long time, they've got a large capital gain. And if you want to give a gift to a charity, if you were to give them cash and you have appreciable stocks, what's going to happen is the cash portion is roughly going to be about 50% less than the actual stock. So what you really want to do is give the individual stocks directly to the charity, and that time when the charity goes to cash it in, the capital gain that you would have incurred by selling them is not going to be attributed back to you, but you're going to get the tax deduction for the 100% of the full proceeds that you gifted to the charity, rather than cashing in the stocks, paying capital gains, and then giving them what's left over in a cash installment. That's a great question. The average cost of a will is typically anywhere between $500 to a couple of $1,000s per person. It will be different if you're a couple, and that they will give you a bit of a discount on that. What it really depends is what all is involved in your will. So if you've got children with disabilities where they have to talk about a Henson Trust, or if you've got a corporation and a business, of course it's going to cost you more. But for the basic person, most wills will charge you about $500. In that $500 fee, you will also be getting a power of attorney for healthcare and a power of attorney for property. So wills are for when you have passed, power of attorneys for property and healthcare are for when you are still alive. So you need all three legal documents. My role as a financial planner to help clients plan their legacy is to make sure they have clarity and that they understand what's going to happen when they pass. So we sit down and go through booklets like what you have here through the Alzheimer Society to list their assets, make sure their beneficiaries are in order, make sure their will is laid out the way they want to, and most importantly, they understand the wording in the will, because a lot of it is legal mumbo jumbo that a lot of people don't understand. So what does it mean to them at the end of the day? And then we also like to put a team of professionals together. So for myself, we help gather the information, we provide the advice, we get the accountant who will help reduce the taxes, and we'll bring in the legal team, like the lawyers, to help put the legal documents together. And the end result is that they'll have peace of mind knowing that when they do pass, everything is well looked after and taken care of for their loved ones, and that their assets will be distributed according to their wishes. And most importantly, we've reduced the taxes or the administration costs and built up and maximized their estate value at the end of the day. This book is put out by Alzheimer's Society of Durham, and it's a great booklet to help you get organized when you're planning your estate. This booklet is a step-by-step guide that will help you organize your assets for when you pass. And I strongly encourage anybody to pick this up and, most importantly, complete it.